Well, hello everyone. This is Dr. Ron, and I'm back with you for another episode of Boomer Life Lessons and Stories. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to talk about the 7 reasons why you should not depend upon others. But before we go there, if you could, would you please like, share, and subscribe? That will help me with the YouTube algorithm and it will help us reach others. And whether it's by entertainment or of real help, then we've achieved what we set out to achieve. Okay, so what does this mean and why is it so important? Well, I'm going to repeat the title and I'm going to emphasize the latter part, and then we'll go forward with it. The 7 reasons why you should not depend upon others when you can do it yourself. Now, that last part, when you can do it yourself, is so very, very important because it restricts the individuals of which we're talking about. We're not talking about people that have, through calamity and crisis and something really, really extreme happening, they're not able to help themselves. We reach out to them, we help them get their footing, they get up and then they move on, right? So those people, they need the help. We're going to, as charitable people, and I'm talking about we, that's the royal we, that's all of you and me, right? Helping those who need that help. But the people in this episode that we're talking about are not those that are willing to help themselves for whatever reason. Before we go into the top 7 reasons, and I'm going to go from the 7th down to the number 1 reason, let me tell you a little story. Back when we were young adults and we were both working, my wife and I had graduated from college and I was working as a professional engineer. And we were doing okay. We were putting back money to buy a house and so forth. But we got acquainted with another young couple. They were a little bit younger than us and they'd recently got married as well. And as we got to know them, they started coming over and visiting. And then soon after that, they began to come over and ask, can we borrow some eggs or can we borrow a cup of sugar? And all that's just kind of the normal thing of being neighborly, right? But it soon progressed. It progressed to the point, well, we're kind of short of cash. We need some money to bridge us to our payday. Could you loan us $5 or $10 or $20 or whatever the amount was at that time? And this was in the late 70s, early 80s. And we started doing that, but it became quite often. And I suppose what really shook us and made the light go on that we were not really helping this young couple, it was when they came and asked to borrow money to buy cigarettes. Now, I don't smoke, never have smoked, and I think it's not good for anybody to smoke. I've seen my mother and dad both get cancer, and cancer had a hand in both of their deaths. So, for whatever reason, I never smoked, and I didn't want people to smoke. Well, the first time they asked, we kind of, okay, we liked them, we wanted to help. We thought it was the right thing to do to help, but we gave them the money. And then my wife and I, we said, gosh, did we do the right thing? And what we came to discover through this conversation that we had was we weren't really helping and being charitable. We were subsidizing them. We were letting them live beyond their means by giving them money. We were subsidizing their bad habits that was detrimental to their health. When we realized that, we said, we don't want to be a part of that. We'll help where help is needed, but where help is needed and they can help themselves, let's let them be the adult about it and help themselves. And oh, by the way, if they want to have a bad habit and they want to use their money to subsidize that bad habit, they can use their own money, not our money. So we realized at that point in time that for us to be charitable and to be giving was to be judicious in how we gave and to whom we gave and for what reason were we giving. And we realized then, as I said earlier, we give to those that can't help themselves. To those that are able to help themselves, we might help once or twice, and we might have a conversation, but after that, they're on their own. They need to be big about it and grow up. And we're going to talk about that, okay? So what is the number 7th reason? Well, the number 7 reason why you shouldn't depend on others is because you become dependent upon others. It becomes habitual. You don't stand up and take care of yourself. You become dependent upon others to take care of you. And there's lots of things that run out from that down in this list as we approach number 1 reason. We'll get into in just a few moments. But that's the thing. If you become dependent upon others, you're giving up your right to act and conduct yourself as an adult. And what does it mean to be an adult? To be an adult, you take care of yourself and your family, and you take ownership of all the decisions that you've ever made that brought you to the present, the here and now. So that's a big responsibility to be an adult. We put away our childish things and we began to think and act and do as adults do. And we don't let others take care of us because mom and dad did that when we were children, and now we're adults and we do that for ourselves, and we also take care of our own children. So you can't do that as an adult when you become dependent upon others. Okay, what's number 6? Well, number 6 is you have to ask for permission. For permission, you're an adult. This is a free country. You don't have to ask for permission, but you see, when you borrow money or you ask for help all the time when you could help yourself, you begin to have to ask for permission. And what else does that do? Well, that also leads into number 5. It limits your options. You see, if you're looking for help and you're always asking other people for that help, you get into this mindset that there's only one way to get into a better state. There's only one way for your family to get into a better state, and that's for others to come in and help you. I've got to tell you, my wife and I have been in situations where we needed to help ourselves, and I took on 2 and 3 and 4 jobs to make sure that we were able to meet our obligations and still pay the bills and put food on the table. Did I like doing that? No. Was it the right thing to do? Yes. Why? Because I was an adult. Now, where did I learn to do that? Well, I guess I have to go back and really explain that early on in my wife and our marriage, we were probably married less than a year. Actually, no, we were married about 4 years. My wife and I were married 4 years, and we were buying our first house. And the house only came with a certain type of carpet, but it wasn't to our liking. So in order to get the upgrade, we had to come up with money to pay for the upgrade before we went to closing. And so we thought, well, we'll just ask mom and dad, right? And that would be my parents and her parents. We did, and they politely said no. We were stunned. We were hurt. Didn't in the past they always took care of us? They met our needs? Well, yes, but you see, there's 2 things about that. We were their children then, and those things we were asking for today were not needs. We're adults. We have to make the decisions for ourselves, take care of ourselves, learn how to do the necessary and sufficient thing to take care of the family. And you know, although it was hurtful at the time, we realized it was for the best, and it was the best decision that they made for us as young adults. It said, you're an adult now. You stand up on your own 2 feet. You don't need to be dependent upon others, and you don't need to ask for others' permission. You go figure it out yourself. And we did. We absolutely did. So all of that leads into number 5, and that was it limits your options. If you're always asking for help, you can't think outside the box, and not being able to think outside the box says, I only know one way to help. It's to ask for others to come in and help. Remember, this is constrained to those individuals that are healthy and able to help themselves, but for whatever reason they choose not to. Okay. Number 4. Well, what is number 4? What reason is that you should not depend upon others for help? Well, the reason is you give up your right to privacy. It gives others the right to know your business. You go ask them for help, for money, and they're going to say, well, what is it you need it for? Why do you think you need it? Why is it so important to you? All these questions erupt out of you asking for that help. And what are you doing? You're giving up your right to privacy. Now, I've said something else that in other episodes that is very important about the more information people have about you, it gives them power over you, because what do we know? We know knowledge is power, and knowledge about you is power over you. So as you begin to answer all these questions because you've asked for help, it gives the people that are thinking about giving you help power over you. You may be even providing information that's really not needed to help them make that decision to help you. Again, if you're able to help yourself, you shouldn't do that. You don't want to give out all that information about yourself, because it gets out there and then people can leverage it against you or over you for whatever reason, right? So what's number 3? Well, number 3 is by asking for help all the time, you never get ahead by depending on others. And oh, by the way, it never gets better. Now you think about that. If you're always in a position because you need help and you're always asking for friends, families, and others, even the government, for help when you're perfectly able of getting up and helping yourself, then it's never going to get better, because you're always dependent upon the charitable hearts of others. And you know, there's a limit to what people are willing to give. They want to give people and help people their time and effort and their money so that they're able to stand up on their own 2 feet and then proceed forward, helping themselves, and then get into a better place. And then those people end up helping other people. In other words, they're paying it forward. And we had another episode that talked about paying it forward. But if you never own up to it, and you never begin to help yourself, and you never become an adult about it, and you always choose to stay the child, right, as an adult, you're never going to get ahead, and it will never get better, your circumstances. If anything else would prevent you from asking for help all the time, that alone should prevent you from asking for that type of help. Okay, that was number 3. What about number 2? Well, number 2 is the reason why you should not depend on others for help is because it kills your motivation and initiative. Complacency locks you in place. You have no energy, or you feel like you have no energy to get up and help yourself. It's easier to ask others for that help. Again, whether it's financial or time and effort, right? You end up saying, I can't do it. I can't do it. And you know, that's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you tell yourself, I can't, you know what? You can't. You got to change your attitude, change your mind to change your life. And that's where it starts. We have to get out of this idea that we're always needing help from others when we can actually help ourselves. You get up and get busy, like my mother-in-law's father told her on the farm. You see something need doing, you get up and get busy and get after it. And that's how you get ahead, right? But if you always ask for others to help, if you're always asking for that help and you're not taking the initiative and motivation, things will never change. You become complacent, and you may even take on that defeatist attitude, or maybe you think of yourself more as a victim rather than as a champion for yourself and your family. And I would rather think of myself as a champion. I would rather get up and get busy and fail trying than never, ever attempt to do so. Okay, what is the number 1 reason why you should not be asking for help? I think it's obvious. You give up control of your life, and you never learn what it means to be an adult. Adults take responsibility for everything they think, say, or do. They take responsibility for everything they achieve or don't achieve. But children don't take responsibility. So you cannot be that adult child all of your life, going through life without any control of where you are, where you're headed, and having other people make those decisions for you. That's not what it means to be an adult. So the number 1 reason is giving up your right to being an adult, you give up your control of your life to others. And I got to tell you, the idea of doing that makes me so nervous. It's almost frightening to think that others would have control over my life and I don't have any control whatsoever. I would rather get up and get busy, work hard at working hard, create a plan, execute to the plan, maybe start all over, maybe realign the plan, whatever it is. I'm going to do everything I can to help myself first. And if I've done all that and I still cannot overcome whatever the challenge is, then I might look to ask for that help. Remember, asking for help is not wrong, but help, when you ask for help, it should be when you cannot help yourself at all. You're just looking to grab hold of something to get your footing underneath you. So at that point, with that help, then you can move forward and take control of your life. And that's what it means to be an adult. I hope all of this is helpful to you. I didn't convey it to you in any mean-spirited way. I hope it's helpful in that it opens people's eyes and lets them recognize that we are the captains of our lives, right? But happenstance does happen, and sometimes people get into situations where they cannot help themselves, then others will step in and help you at that point in your life. But other than that, because you're the captain of your life, you need to take up the responsibility, move forward, and push forward and work hard in achieving the things that are good for you and the things that are good for your family. And oh, by the way, paying it forward, the things that are good for your community. And with that, my friends, please know you're always on my mind, and I do wish you all the best. Until next time, we'll see you then.